Dear viewers, you're welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Équinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, internally displaced persons in the Republic of Cameroon complain over the challenges they are facing, not only to live, but to have access to education as the 2020-2021 academic year takes off. And some of them speaking to us said they have been neglected in government's back-to-school strategy. You will hear them in this newscast. And inhabitants of Marwa in the far north region of Cameroon complaining over the deplorable state of roads running through that part of the country. Stay with us. The 2020-2021 academic year is already on the move. This is day 2 of the current academic year. In the meantime, several children, primary and secondary school pupils and students are complaining, and their parents lamenting over the fact that their children are finding it very difficult to have access to education, to go to school, because of the fact that they were kicked out of their homes in the northwest and southwest regions of the country by the Anglophone crisis. And according to them, government is neglecting them in its government is neglecting them in its back-to-school strategy. And some of them spoke to, for me, Armstrong Sanda, who compiled this report.
Internally displaced children of the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon say they have been forgotten by the government. They say the government is only concerned on averting the over 3-year school boycott, neglecting the plight of displaced learners.
We are coming from Tombe subdivision and we run war because of the war, because of gun shooting. We are 15 in this house. So ones are sleeping 5 in one bed, some are 3 in one bed, so there are no comfort in this house.
It's not really that easy, as you can see. There are almost 15 children in the house. So look at even where we are reading. The table is even small, but we are reading, many of us here. Yes, so the condition is really bad. Where we are, where we come from, everything was fine. Everything was very well, but now we are managing. Even bought our books. We are still using our old books. Even for our school fees, we have not yet paid our school fees. Yes, because my father is not working. My father is not working. In Ebonji, where I come from, we have our bush. We can do farming. We can pluck cocoa and make money. We are not really happy here, so we beg God that He should touch this our government so that they can solve this crisis.
As schools officially went operational Monday, October the 5th, 2020 across Cameroon, financially paralyzed, internally displaced parents in Lum in the Mongo division of the littoral region of Cameroon could not register their kids in schools, according to school officials.
All of them are complaining of crisis, lack of money. Most of them have not even paid the registration, which is supposed to be paid before the children start classes. However, the reasons they are posing are reasons that can be understood by everybody, because apart from the fact that most of them are displaced parents due to the crisis in the northwest and southwest, added to that is the COVID-19, which has come to crumble the economy. We are obliged, first of all, receive them, have the children start school since they have been out of school for a very long time, while we are still pleading that the parents do something extra to see how we can have the means to pay teachers.
If the burden of internally displaced students is heavy on private schools, that on internally displaced private schools is heavier.
Apart from being a Tombe-based school, we are also authorized to function in Lum. So we were expecting that, being one of the major schools that has really helped displaced population to an extent, that they were supposed to at least think of us during the allocation or distribution of subventions, but we did not have.
While looking up to the government of Cameroon, private school proprietors are pleading on their teachers to persevere.
So I have come this morning to beg for our teachers. We shall be paying their money gradually. We cannot run. Where can we go again? Do we have any place to go again? Instead, when we live here that we are running, it means that we shall go and remain in the forest.
While confrontations continue in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, the number of internally displaced persons has continued to increase from the 676,393 published by the United Nations High Commission for Refugees on February 21st, 2020. Their living conditions, including food and access to basic needs, is still a major concern.
And the situation remains quite disturbing in several parts of Anglophone Cameroon, the northwest and the southwest regions of the country, where many schools have remained closed and are still closed. In places like Konye in the Meme division, southwest region of the country, schools are still engulfed by grass, and administrative and municipal authorities are now striving to make sure that some of the schools go operational and that some of the pupils and students are not deprived of their right to education, which is a fundamental right enshrined in national and international laws. In some parts of the two Anglophone regions, including the Indian division, for example, the situation is less tense and school attendance is relatively higher than last year. Derek Jato reports.
It's a good example of a public good.
Sitting on the same bench with students while maintaining social distancing was how Fowan Lawrence, the senior divisional officer from Indian division, started his day this October 5, 2020, day one of the 2020-2021 school year in Cameroon. We are at Government Bilingual High School Mundemba and lectures have started. The chief executive officer of the division wanted to take stock of the situation himself.
I want to say that all in all, Indian division is calm because we have made a run of the town. Indian is standing up as one person to say they must go to school. As I told them in their classes, if those children don't go to school, there is never a day. We also stand one day and address the population as we are doing today.
And while encouraging these students that have shown up for day one, the Indian SGO used the brilliant performance of a Mundemba student during the recent public exams as a motivational factor to these students.
We learn with much enthusiasm that our effort paid off last year, that the first student in Cameroon for KPM exam came from GTTC Mundemba.
Fowan Lawrence also revealed that what needed to be done at his level has been done, but there are still some challenges. A division which has also been heavily hit economically by the war. The parents, at least, need to be supported to see their children through.
That the parents of Indian are financially handicapped. And I am proposing that for this year again, if possible, school fees and PTA fees should be suppressed. I say if possible, school fees and PTA fees. This information goes to the hierarchy. They are the one to confirm. Last year I did what
the COVID-19 fight needs to be reinforced in the various campuses.
We are also saying that the hierarchy should look on this issue of face mask. The face masks which were distributed to students and people last year, they have all been used and have become useless. Although we met all of them putting on their face masks, most of them having hand sanitizer.
At press time, it was positive in all the campuses around Jan division.
And administrative authorities continue striving to ensure that pupils and students are not deprived of their right to education despite the unstable and uncertain socio-political and security climate reigning in those two regions. And civil society leaders and other observers have been questioning the strategy of government with regard to the security and even the safety of school-going children in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. And of course, we'll be analyzing this in a short while. But first of all, go over to the Adamawa region of the country and also to the Upper Camp division in the west region of the country, where academic activity is unfolding near hitch-free. Smanjik and Gabriel has more.
After spending several months at home, it was a great reunion with kids of the nursery school at the government residential area in Gaundere. Meanwhile, those in college had an obligatory checkup with the thermoflash, washing of hands, and the disinfection of their shoes before getting into the classrooms. Lessons also started immediately to the satisfaction of the regional delegate for secondary education of Adamawa.
The resumption of school in the Adamawa region is effective. We have seen that all schools visited have resumed. So it is a great joy for us to come back.
The only problem in Gaundere on day one of the academic year was that faced by the visually impaired students who had difficulties to get their teachers because of the face mask. At the Upper Camp division of the West region, the pupils of government bilingual primary school returned to meet the burned structure of the head teacher's office. That, however, did not hinder them from receiving lessons on day one of the academic year.
It has started effectively, as you have seen. All the teachers and the classes and the pupils, even though they are not all present, but at least we started well. The only thing that we had during holidays, the office, as you have seen here, caught fire. You know that this school is not having fence, and then this school is open to everybody, vandals, and it's also a football field for children to play there during holidays. So it caught fire during holidays, as you have seen like that. I've just taken one of the classes to make my office while waiting to see what we can do.
It was a successful start of the new school year in the West and Adamawa region on day one.
In Marwa, in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon, residents are complaining over the bad state of roads running through that part of the country. The roads, many of the roads are in an advanced state of dilapidation, and they are calling on authorities to improve on the state of roads in Marwa. Details in this report.
A motorcycle stuck in a crater-sized pothole. A 30-seater interurban transport bus forced to go out of track in order to avoid getting stuck in a pothole. We are at the Domayo Boulevard in Marwa, far north region of Cameroon. Residents of the city of Marwa decry the lack of good roads in the urban center.
We encounter a lot of difficulties on the road. Sometimes we fall into the potholes. All the roads in Marwa are bad. We are pleading on the government and the elites to look into the situation because it usually causes problems between us, the motorbike riders, and passengers. We expect the mayor to look into the road issues instead of telling people to constantly transfer to other quarters. Without good roads, the quarters will never be developed. The Domayo Boulevard is the pride of Marwa. But since it was built, it has never been maintained. We are unable to circulate. The government should not allow the population to suffer. It is a shame.
The recent collapse of the Pala Bridge has forced some road users to now rely on footpaths in order to go along with their daily activities. One of the major stretches in the town has been transformed into a pigsty, with vehicles facing difficulties navigating the stretch due to its modern state. The city mayor of Marwa is challenged by the population to come up with innovative ideas that can develop area.
Immaculate Fogwe reporting. Their first guest in this edition of the news is clergyman Reverend Doe Derrick. Thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Babila.
All right, we'll begin with the last report compiled by Immaculate Fogwe and Amadu Dairo in the far north region of the country. The state of roads in Marwa. When you look at those roads, what do you think about the management of urban roads in Cameroon?
You know, management of the urban route in Cameroon has a very, very big problem. And it's not just in Marwa, it's everywhere in the whole republic. Because I've traveled to almost all the areas in this country. I can tell you, there is no one place you will see a good route. Right in Yaoundé, there are no route. Right in Limbe, where I'm coming from, which is OPEC city, the last thing they can do for us is come and throw sand and cement and gravel. 3 months after, water have washed off everything. But when you go to look at the document, you will see good road with good pictures. On ground, nothing. So we need to, you know, the best system to get the place developed is to change the strategies. If something is not working, don't pretend. Change it to what is working.
It's to change the strategy.
Change the system of governance. Bring the power right down to the people who can develop. If the governor of Southwest is coming from center, what serious? He doesn't even know the environment. How will he develop it? He knows it all on paper.
But he has been there for, as far as that case is concerned, he has been there for so many years today, and he has a mastery of his area of command.
No.
And moving from one part of the region to the other, despite the unstable and difficult security terrain.
Mr. Babila, what influences development is, today you are in power, tomorrow you are not. Will you remain with the people when you are not? Because the people can only hold you accountable the day you are not in power. So if you are in power today, you know, the day I will not be in power, I will not be here. What will push you to bring development? Nothing.
And the new decentralization code that seems to be sending down to the roots, to the divisions, subdivisions, more power, more autonomy, isn't it going to change some things?
We are waiting. Some of us who were born in the early 80s, we still have cartoons, we still have lectures of promises. We are still waiting for the fulfillment till today.
All right. The IDPs, let's talk about the IDPs who are complaining that they are neglected in government's back to school strategy.
Yeah, you know, if this campaign of back to school was for the benefit of the people of Northwest and Southwest, you would have been yielding fruit. But it's for the benefit, those who are campaigning for their benefit, maybe as allied. But even I saw some allies or some politicians from my village, they are also campaigning. But instead of them to look at the reality, I heard one of the teachers said, pay their decree, they can operate in Tombe and in, is it Loom or Melon? The Melon. Okay, if truly those who campaigning are campaigning for the good of these children, they would have known that God has already created a buffer zone in Melon for the people of Tombe. We have about 6 months of children have been in the house. If they were building just dormitories for all the students who cannot go to school in Tombe, because the right to life is more important than the right to education. I just had my advanced level this year with 17 points. After 20 years, I've dropped from school. I can go to school and have this grade because I am alive. Mr. Babila, you are from Bali. I'm from Santa. We know the situation on ground. If bullets are passing up and down and the children are going to school, imagine the casualties. They will not go to school, but adults can go to school. I've just had my advanced level 2A grade with 17 points. I've applied in UB to read law because I'm alive. So we should look, God has created buffer zone in this Northwest and Southwest. All the students in Donga Mantum can be brought to Kambe Center. All the students in Tombe can be brought to Loom. All the students in Kupe Maningoba, they can be brought, is it a Melon somewhere around Konsamba? There are safe areas there, build dormitories, send more teachers there. If only the campaign is for the benefit of the children. But see, they are not campaigning for the children. People are campaigning to tell the world that things have become normal. But those of us who are on ground,
but they say that they are campaigning because they don't want a generation of illiterate children. They don't want a generation of illiterate Cameroonians who have not gone to school. They don't want the children to be deprived of their right to education. That's why they are going through the nooks and crannies of the two regions, the areas that are relatively accessible, and asking the parents to send their children to school, asking the teachers to come to school and all of that.
what can guarantee you and I that this area is safe today, the area will be safe tomorrow? But you and I will know areas that can be safe for the whole year. A loom can be safe for the whole year. Places like a melon can be safe for the whole year. Let's face it, right? Okay, look at my village where I'm coming from. I'm a close neighbor with Bagam, Ngali. They can create a buffer center in that area, bring all the students from Baligam, Baligashu, Baligansin, Bambalang, Bafanji, Balikumba, in that area, if only they are campaigning for the benefit of the children. But most of those who are campaigning to tell the world that things are normal. But on which day they say no, that things are not normal. What we need to tell the world and to tell the good people of Cameroon is that let's forget about our political gains and let's see how we can help a generation that is already getting lost. And mind you, Mr. Babila, this government is campaigning for school to resume. It's a good strategy. But the separatists too are taking advantage, because those of us who are in the mission field, we have people from everywhere. Those of us who operate as clergymen, most of the areas where these separatists have conquered, almost all the young girls in that area are already pregnant.
They've conquered some areas.
Many
areas. The government says it has control over the whole territory, and that separatists are not in control of any inch of the.
Look at the attendance in India with the presence of the SDO or his etat majors. You have more administrators in that classroom, more than students. Tomorrow, when nobody will be there, I bet you the attendance will drop by 90%. You are a reporter, you are on ground, you see things. We on ground, we see things. So what should we do? Let's work for the interests of the common man. Let's forget, some of those people have succeeded. Some of us have succeeded. What of the common man who has nobody to help him or her? Look at the woman crying. No food, no school fees, but people are campaigning for school resumption. Why can't they go and help such people that they have the opportunity? If those who have the opportunity to go to the school, they don't have help. What of those who don't have the opportunity? No school, no food, not even no classroom, because most of the areas that are campaigning for school to resume, the schools have been burned down. We see the images on social media, we see them on the media every day.
Apart from the creation of buffer zones, like you indicated, and the construction of dormitories, and bringing some of the pupils and students from the areas where there is where there is more violence to the areas that are relatively more safe. Apart from that, what else can be done to ensure that children, because everybody at least agrees on this one, that children should not be deprived of their right to education? What can be done else to ensure that these rights are respected?
It's very simple. Number one, let's tell ourselves the truth. Because if you look at this carefully, up to that, some people still believe that there is no Anglophone problem. Let's assume that there is a problem. How can we move ahead in this problem? Because Jesus said the truth that you know will set you free. And the truth that you know, you need to believe in the truth. Look at how the truth can be put into action to benefit the common man. Simple. Everybody come into table, there is a problem. And the truth is that this problem cannot be solved in one day, no, even in 1 year, the level where it is now. So what do? A place like Limbe is safe. Government is giving a new layout. Government can give out 5 hectares as a buffer zone for all the students that are around Megzam, around Fako. Bring them there, the area is safe. There are NGOs, and the government knows how to reach to these NGOs even more than you and I. Look at area like Bamenda Center that is safe. We cannot create a buffer zone. They bring people from all the people from the whole of Megzam to that area. The same.
Even though some of these places are still experiencing some atrocities that have been committed here and there, corpses found on the roads and so on and so forth. Reverend Do Derek, thank you for coming today.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Babila.
All right, the news out of the Republic of Cameroon, the traditional or transitional president of Mali, Bado, appoints a 25-man government in which senior military personnel have been given several key posts. A presidential decree read on Mali state television states that the ministries of defense, security, territorial administration, and national reconciliation, all to be led by colonels in the army. And the transitional president Bado, who had a career in the Air Force, was handpicked to be president of the country by the coup leader, and Colonel Sergio Camara will be one of the leaders of the junta, will become the Minister of Defense, while the spokesman of the military junta, Colonel Ismail Magui, will be in charge of national reconciliation. Some significant posts also went to civilians, with the former prosecutor Mohamed Sida Diko heading the Justice Department. Only 4 posts were given to women and 2 to members of the opposition. M5 in the M5 is the group that led protests against President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, leading to his ousting by the military following the appointment of a civilian prime minister. The West African Region Organization ECOWAS is expected to soon lift the sanctions it imposed after the coup in August this year. Coming up next, Talking Point. Thank you for staying with us in Talking Points. In today's edition, we are receiving the Israeli ambassador to Cameroon, His Excellency Izzy Yanuka. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're visiting Equinoxe Television today. What's the purpose of your visit?
To learn to, first of all, to present myself. I'm new here. And then I recently arrived in Cameroon, so I'd like to know all TV stations and all the other media outlets, and also to better know Équinoxe TV and radio, because I listen to it. I watch Équinoxe TV on the cable TV, and it's always better to know more.
You've been following the television channel Equinoxe, and you know the angle of treatment of news, you know about how it functions, and today you have been taken around some departments and you have seen how we're working here. What's your take on what Equinoxe has been doing so far?
Well, so far my personal impression is, I like watching Equinoxe News because I find it helpful and balanced. And then after having seen today, your studios and meeting people, then I know how it works. What makes it tick, which is even easier to understand and to know better what's going on.
All right, you've been in Cameroon for some few months now.
Yeah.
Before you're coming to Cameroon as Israeli ambassador, you were in Cameroon for over 2 years, between 1990 and 2002.
1999 and 2001.
1999 and 2001.
Yeah.
What is your opinion about the country, Cameroon?
Well, obviously I like it because I asked to come back, and it's a promotion for me. I'm happy to come back, close the circle. I started as a very junior diplomat, and now I'm coming back as head of mission. So for me, it's great.
It's great. What about the people of Cameroon?
Well,
you've been interacting with some of the people of Cameroon. What's your opinion about the people of Cameroon?
Well, of course, the people actually, they're the ones who make the country. If it weren't for the people, I don't think I would have liked the country so much. So, of course, I try to interact with as many people as I can to learn, meet more people. Even through television, I learn a lot about what's going on, radio, music, things like that. Not just stick to pure diplomacy and politics, and that's it.
You've learned a lot about what's been happening in Cameroon for the past years. And Cameroon used to be known as the island of peace in Africa.
Yeah.
The island of peace, which has today become more or less an island of crisis, political and security crisis everywhere. What do you think about those happenings, political happenings in the country and security issues in the northwest and southwest regions of the country?
Well, sadly, Cameroon is not the only place on earth where there are conflicts. I mean, I know it quite well from the region where I come from. I know that every conflict is not good for the country, is not good for the people, because whoever suffers the most are the people themselves. Because you can use other words to describe it or talk around it, but then you have people from all sides who are suffering, and therefore conflicts. I mean, everybody needs to do the best they can in order to end the conflict, of course, in a peaceful manner and in dialoguing with each other.
Israel has been witnessing this kind of happenings, political and security instability, for several years today, and it's just something that has not been going on in Cameroon for long. As far as the northwest and the southwest regions are concerned, 4 years today, there's been an armed conflict going on there.
Yeah.
When you look at what's been happening in your country and how you've been managing it over there and how the government is managing it here, do you think that it's been well managed? Do you think that there's something that is not well done that should be done otherwise?
Well, that's a tricky question. I don't think I'm in any position to give grades to any government on how it deals with the conflict. Neither my own government, because you see, as you said yourself, it's been going on for many years now, for nearly over 60 years. So some moves are good, some moves are bad. I mean, I really wish we'd sit together and leave our egos outside the room and try to resolve it in a peaceful way, because in my experience, you can only resolve conflicts in a peaceful way.
And try to resolve it in a peaceful way, and not by some kind of violence or arms strategies and so on.
Yeah, it's like the same conflict that I have at home. I mean, if we disagree on something, I mean, we don't start beating each other. We just relax, sit down, talk, leave our egos outside, and
inclusive dialogue. That's what you're referring to.
Yeah, normally that helps. It helped in many places around the world, and it also helps in the private life. So I think it's
bringing the warring factions on the same table to discuss the issues provoking the conflict.
That's dialogue. Yeah, I mean, you don't do peace with your friends. You do peace with the people who disagree with you.
All right. How is the relationship between Cameroon and Israel?
I'd say they're very good. So they're very warm, friendly. There's close collaboration, and I think it's more than just two countries having diplomatic relations. I mean, there's something deeper, a deep friendship between the two countries, and we see it.
A deep friendship.
Yeah.
What exactly are you referring to when you talk about a deep friendship? In terms of political collaboration, security collaboration, education, economic-wise, what exactly are you referring to when you talk about deep friendship, deep friendship?
In terms of always being there for the other one. For example, we take Cameroon is always trying to support Israel in the multinational arena. I mean, we know we can always count on Cameroon on being with us, even though sometimes it's difficult for Cameroon. And then tight collaboration is in every area possible, but mainly in education, agriculture, health, public health, and just sharing knowledge, sharing our experiences, and trying to help make life better in both places.
In terms of security matters, What is Israel doing to help Cameroon to solve its security challenges?
There is obviously collaboration between Cameroon and Israel. It was on a state level until the beginning of the years 2000, and ever since cooperation is mainly handled by private companies.
Cooperation at the level of helping one another in what way? Expertise?
Mainly knowledge, formation, training, yeah, training, sharing of knowledge, and of course, I mean, most cooperation is fight against terrorism. I mean, this is what we, this is the main thing that we collaborate on, because sadly, Cameroon now suffers a great deal of terrorist attacks, and we have a lot of experience.
The incursions from the terrorist sect Boko Haram in the north, in the far north region of the country.
Right. So we have again, sadly, we have a lot of experience, and because we were the target for terrorist attacks for many years.
All right. So you were the target of terrorist attacks for many years, and today, or for several years today, Cameroon also has been a target in the far north with recurrent attacks from the terrorist sect Boko Haram, who are currently making incursions into parts of the far north region of the country, killing people, burning down houses, stealing cattle, and all other atrocities that have been committed over there. In your opinion, from the experience of Israel, what can be done in addition to what is already being done to limit the impact of terrorist activities on the people in the far north region? There is, for example, an issue of poverty and hardship that is said to be promoting the terrorist activities, in the sense that some young people who are suffering from poverty and hardship, who have not gone to school and so on, they are joining the terrorist movement and so on. What can be done in this light?
Apart from the military, that requires perhaps things that the Cameroonian government is already doing, and which is taking a more holistic approach to resolving the problem. Yes, you do fight terrorism, you do fight people, but then you also give the people who live there a reason to believe that the government is protecting them, and that they shouldn't give up. They shouldn't give up hope, because everything is being done, not just by protecting the borders from incursions, but also in making their lives better, in investing in infrastructure and in education.
All right, we're rounding up with COVID-19. Your country is also assisting Cameroon in the fight against coronavirus.
Yeah, at the very beginning of the crisis, in the month of March, the Israeli government has donated a large number of special masks for doctors and nurses, and the unique things about the masks is that we had Israeli software for 3D printing in Cameroon. There's the École Polytechnique in Yaoundé that has amazing equipment for 3D printers, and we printed the masks over there. So it was Israeli knowledge made and produced in Cameroon by Cameroonians. So there was no need for any import or bringing in things from other countries.
All right, His Excellency Izzy Yanuka, Israeli Ambassador to Cameroon, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today.
Équinoxe Télévision, au-delà de l'image, nous rendons compte.